Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Hump Day Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. And first and foremost, as always, just want to wish positive blessings and vibrations to everybody who could be listening. Now, as we all know, the Los Angeles Lakers took on the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio last night. And of course, they were without LeBron James, who was nursing the sore ankle that he had hurt previously in the game versus the Memphis Grizzlies. And I knew when LeBron went down on that ankle and laid there for a minute, it was more than just a scare, that he was actually hurt. And you can see it kind of affected him through the remainder of that game, even though he hit some big threes in the fourth quarter and contributed greatly to that win. He just still wasn't himself, although he still could put pressure on it. And a lot of times, kind of like when Isaiah Thomas hurt his ankle in Game 6 finals in 1988 against the Lakers, and then still played phenomenally and scored 40 points on that swollen ankle. But after the game, it's going to stiffen up and swell up to where you won't be able just to put a lot of pressure on it, and it's best to nurse it. And I'm sure that was the case with LeBron James. He probably had some swelling afterwards, and of course, I'm sure he did round the clock healing for it, as far as getting treatment and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it was probably best for him to sit out, just because you don't want to cause further injury to something that's already injured. You might turn it the wrong way, twist it the wrong way, and then you've compounded the injury with something that's going to make it a lot worse. And this is what I said the other day about the Lakers, what made them so dangerous. So the other day I said, with the Lakers, you can have you have 4 different players at any time that can go off for 30 points at any given night. So you got Melo, who can do that. You got LeBron and AD, of course, who's capable of doing that. And then Russ, who did it last night. And when you have 4 different players who can do that for you, it's going to make you dangerous when all of them are together. And also, in the case of last night, when you were without LeBron James, it was really important that the Lakers could go out and get a victory without LeBron, because as we all know, the Lakers, or any team that LeBron has ever been on, which shows you the greatness of a LeBron James, that they do terribly without him. You know what I mean? So, like, the Lakers, since LeBron been there, has been like 20 and 35 or something like that, 23 and 35 or something like that, to where if LeBron James sits, they're not going to win, and they're going to be below a 500 team. Even when he was even on his second stint with Cleveland, every year with Kyrie Irving, they was 4 and 23. Everybody talking about the greatness of Kyrie Irving, which he is a great player, but think about it. Without LeBron James, 4 and 23. So it is very important, especially as LeBron gets up in age, he needs to, get some rest, as well as, maybe dealing with some injury or some soreness, that if he is unable to go or needs some rest, then you have a player like Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis who can take over. And speaking of Anthony Davis, of course, we had a scare last night. He was going up for a rebound, and it looked pretty bad because it seemed like a non-contact injury. And the way he went down, he was grimacing really bad, as if he was in a whole hell of a lot of pain. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Lord, now it's going to be Westbrook and LeBron season. Let's see how this is going to work out without Anthony Davis, which I think LeBron and Westbrook can coexist, which we'll talk about that in just a minute. I think they can coexist on the floor with one another, but without Anthony Davis, that would be a struggle, because he is a key component to the Lakers' success, and as far as them being able to compete for a championship. So it was great to see last night that the Lakers were able to pull off a victory. I know the San Antonio Spurs, I forget the player's name, the young guy, he got really hot. He had hit like 6 out of 7 from 3. It seems like nobody could stop him. He was finding open space. I don't know why they didn't put a veteran like Avery Bradley in just to ball hawk him and just see if he could slow him down some. But ultimately, Austin Reeves came in and got that job done and played great defense and actually hit a couple of big threes, which Austin Reeves, I think, has proven his worth and value. And I know THT is out, and, you know, Wayne Ellington is out, and, you know, more experienced players who have experience, especially Wayne Ellington. I've seen him even when he was a Memphis Grizzlies, knock down, at the time, was a record 7 threes in one game. I think that record has been broken now by, crazy enough, Jaren Jackson Jr., if I'm not mistaken. But at the end of the day, you know, with the Lakers being able to go out and win without LeBron James, that's something that is very important. And we saw it last night. You know, Carmelo is going to have an off night. You know, he was off last night. Carmelo was broke. He did come up with one big shot in the waning moments of the fourth quarter, where he was hit his first field goal with like 3 minutes left in the fourth. He had previously hit 2 free throws, so he only had 2 points at that given time, but yet he was still in the game. And Carmelo was able to get to the basket on a nice move and finish, and it was very timely to stop the momentum of the Spurs. And I mean, that fourth quarter was great. The Lakers outscored the Spurs 29-17 in the fourth. So outscored them by the 12-point deficit that they were down by coming into the fourth quarter. And what really, to me, that sparked that run was the lineup of Austin Reeves, Malik Monk, Russell Westbrook, Dwight, and AD. And I cannot say enough about what Dwight Howard brought. If you didn't see the game and you get the chance and you can, you know, go back and watch it, and you will see in the fourth quarter the energy that Dwight Howard brought on defense was amazing. He wasn't allowing anybody to get to the rim. He wasn't allowing for any backdoor screens, any kind of ball movement from the Spurs. He was shutting it down. He was really aggressive on the glass, and he was making his presence felt. And at the time, he was caught with a foul that I really don't think was a foul. That should have been another block, you know, in his block categories last night. But it was just not to be in that situation, and he kind of got, you know, that a foul that to me wasn't really a foul. And there was some bad calls by the refs too last night. I remember a couple times where AD, they kept saying that the foul was before the shot when he was in the motion of shooting. When they blew the whistle, he didn't dribble again, and he went right into his shot of the move. So they did that twice last night, which for the life of me, I could not understand what was going on with that. And these were some easy calls to me. They clearly should have been and ones for AD. But one good thing I did notice, AD went to the line. He was knocking them down consistently, and I forgot to look at the stat sheet to see where he was in free throws, but he did a hell of a good job last night from what I can remember as far as making his free throws. Now, him having 35 points and Russ having another 31 to 32 points, them having 60-some points for the Lakers is amazing. Because really, like I keep saying, you just need a dynamic duo to be able to win in the NBA and be successful. And the best dynamic duos are the ones who bring home championships. But if you can add in a third player, then that's even better. And I feel like Russell Westbrook is that third player that the Lakers need. And even though people keep saying, and this is the problem with Frank Vogel, and I know you cannot keep putting DeAndre Jordan in the starting lineup. I mean, I know you want to play big. If you play big, play with Dwight Howard, because he brings the defensive intensity. If you see DeAndre Jordan, he might go out and have just, okay, you look at the numbers, it's the same. But numbers don't always tell the whole story, because Dwight Howard is actually bringing way more of an impact and putting his print on the game and bringing the intensity. And if you look at his plus minus, you'll see the difference. And he was on the floor. And speaking of which, as far as plus minus, you see Malik Monk had like a plus 17. So the Lakers need to have a shooter on the floor. And when they was trotting out that lineup, even with LeBron in there, LeBron had become the shooter, which that's great that he can shoot, but that's not his role to stand out there and hit threes, because he's not a catch and shoot shooter. LeBron has to have the ball, dribble, find the spot, then shoot it. He's not a catch and shoot three-point shooter. So that doesn't work, you know, if you got Russell penetrating and then kicking it back out to LeBron, because LeBron not going to catch it and shoot it. So when you got Russ and LeBron on the floor together, it would behoove you to have also another shooter on the floor as well as a Malik Monk. But when you add a DeAndre Jordan to the mix, you can only have that one shooter. Whereas if AD was the center, then you could have a Malik Monk and maybe a THT with the LeBron James. And a Russell Westbrook and a LeBron James. and then you can spread the floor a lot more. But I still think the Lakers are going to figure it out. And what showed last night to me is all teams in the NBA go on runs, and that's because throughout the course of the game you're going to have fatigue, and then you have to have rotations. And when certain players rotate in and out, other players are going to benefit from those things. And as you can see last night, the Lakers' depth is why I won so much money on the game, because even when the Lakers were down, I knew they would come back because of the depth and the veteran leadership that they have. But the thing about it is, if you are not staggering your players with Russell and LeBron, then you're not going to be hugely successful. You're going to be successful, but I'm talking about as far as just winning the championship. Now, they will learn to play together, but to me, I think Russ plays good with AD without LeBron on the floor, so you can get a lot of minutes of that. And when LeBron James gets his spell, I'm not saying, which would be great, but I know Russ, of course, would not come off the bench. But it would be great if LeBron started at point and Russ came off the bench for him as point. But, of course, LeBron, when he did, they won the championship the last time LeBron started the season as point. Just in case y'all forget, they won the championship and LeBron James led the league in assists. But I know he's older now and he doesn't need to be running the point, and he needs to be spelled throughout the game. And that's great that you have Russell Westbrook. That's what I'm saying. Stagger the minutes. Let LeBron go to the bench and Russ and AD continue to play, throughout that first quarter. Let LeBron go ahead and go to the bench around the 4th or 5th minute mark. Let him get plenty of rest, leading into that second quarter. Then he can come out and play the majority of the second quarter. And then that way AD and Russ are playing together, the majority of the first quarter. And then you go ahead and bring LeBron back in the second quarter and have him play with maybe Rondo. Okay? Instead of, or if you don't even want to see Rondo, let him come back and play the point, and you can still spread it, which LeBron is great at, with just penetrating, kicking, and shooting. So when you come back in and oh my God, I mean, this 18-wheeler just almost hit you, boy. What the hell going on? So what I'm saying is, LeBron can come back in and he can surround himself with shooters. He'll have a Bazemore around him, a Malik Monk, a Wayne Ellington, a THT, all around him. People that he can penetrate and kick out, and they can get open shots easily, because it's still at this stage in his career where you're going to have to double team him. So with all that being said, I just feel like the Lakers are going to be, once they get everything going, unstoppable. And Austin Reeves getting these valuable minutes, because you just never know when you might need him to step up. Made a couple mistakes last night, but he always, when he does make mistakes, he comes back and makes up for it. He shoots an air ball 3, but then he come back and get you another 3. He loses on one play. He lost. Keep forgetting that Spurs player, man. He hit like 7 out of 8 threes, whatever, last night. Young guy. Name is on the tip of my tongue, but anyway, he lost him in space in transition and allowed for him for a 3, which is a huge mistake. You don't let anybody who's shooting 7 out of 8 from 3 in the game, you don't lose them in transition, and don't let them spot up for a 3. And he did that. But nobody is perfect. The Spurs are young. They got good legs, and they damn near was about to run the Lakers out of the gym. At one point, you can see Carmelo, when he was running back on defense, was tired as hell, and Vogel took a timeout. I don't think out of frustration, but to give these old guys a little bit of a breather, because right now, a lot of the young guys are still hurt. You understand what I'm saying? But I still can't say enough about the energy that Dwight Howard brought in the fourth quarter. I think that's overlooked because of the numbers that Russ and AD put up in the fourth quarter. I think Russ had like 12 in the fourth quarter, so he was phenomenal. The one when he got to the paint and finished with the dunk was amazing. I think that really brought the crowd to their feet. And speaking of bringing the crowd to their feet, that was because the Lakers' home crowd was all in San Antonio last night. And the Lakers always travel well and, carry a lot of fans with them. And it's been even more so, after Kobe retired, it wasn't as much. It kind of died down a little bit. But with LeBron James coming back, it really became, ruckus crowds, away crowds, when the Lakers was taking over people's stadiums and stuff like that. And they did that last night against San Antonio. They really took over the whole arena. And even when the San Antonio players was trying to shoot, the Lakers had a home court advantage by screaming and booing and making noise, to where really, to be honest, San Antonio cost themselves the game, because they was 12 out of 22 from the stripe. They was 12 out of 22 from the stripe, and the Lakers was 17 out of 22 from the stripe. So the Lakers improved and got a whole lot better. on the improved and got a whole lot better from the free throw line, and that's what they needed to do. At one point, San Antonio in that fourth quarter had missed 4 free throws in a row, which was crucial, and that really allowed the Lakers to go ahead and push the game into overtime. But with 5 or 6 minutes left, I want to say in the fourth quarter, the Lakers had a 5 or 6 point lead and just let it get away. They let the guy Purtle or whoever start getting easy dunks and penetration, which I couldn't understand. Dwight Howard did make a mistake at one point and leave his guy to come over for help and just allow for the easy dunk. Like, stay on your man. I don't think AD needed any help at that particular moment. But like I said, I did like that lineup of Russ, Monk, and Reeves, because when you got Russ, Monk, and Reeves, Monk and Reeves can spread that floor because they capable of hitting threes, and they not too bad on the defensive end. And then, of course, Russell Westbrook, he can be the floor general. And then you got Dwight Howard, who's going to protect that paint, be a rim protector. AD, who can protect the paint and be a rim protector, but also spread that floor as well. So you got Reeves, Monk, and AD who can spread the floor. I won't so much say for Russ, who is capable of hitting threes, but has not been shooting it well. Now, coming into the game, the Lakers were number 1 in three-point field goal percentage. I don't think so after last night, because ultimately they did not do too well from three-point line. But a lot of that, them leading the league in three-pointers, was due to that of LeBron James and how great he had been shooting it. They shot like 52% from 3 the other day. So, the Lakers have been doing well from the three-point line. I hope they can keep that up throughout the course of the season. Like I said, they just got way too many shooters on the team. If you look at them, they just too dangerous. When you got somebody like Carmelo who can hit threes, or Malik Monk, who, speaking of which, Malik Monk hit the Steph Curry 3 that actually they were down by, I want to say, 1. And then he hit that 3 to put them up by 2, and it was way deep, like almost by the logo. And when he hit that 3, man, I tell you what, the crowd went crazy, and you could tell the Lakers and the San Antonio crowd, which was full of the purple and gold, and that's partially due, like I was saying before, to San Antonio not being a great team now and have fallen off. But even though Greg Popovich is expected this year to surpass Lenny Wilkins for the all-time winningest head coach in NBA history, which congratulations to Popovich. I know, he did lose his wife last year, and, things are not the same with Timmy D being gone, and, just DeRozan not working out, and, they scratching for something. But the way he coaches their team, they always competitive. The young guys playing. Oh, and let me, if I failed to mention, Devontae had a hell of a game last night. He got the triple dub. He know how to find space, get to the mid-range. He know how to get to the hole. He's not afraid to knock down the big three-point shot. For a guard, he crashes the boards. He brings a lot of energy, and he's a great pickup. So they need to pair somebody else with him that's going to be able to help San Antonio become a more competitive squad. And I think Popovich will eventually take care of that as long as he continues to coach us in the league. Popovich is somebody that LeBron James has a healthy respect for, and somebody that I've always had a healthy respect for as well. So with that being said, it's been great this morning talking about the Lakers, especially another victory. What I want to do is make sure that checking throughout the day, I'm going to check the AP wire to see at some point today, this afternoon, the Lakers need to list Anthony Davis as questionable or probable. So we'll see how they list him, or either playing, and see how they list him today. Because I know after hurting your knee like that, it seemed like he was hobbling around a little bit after hurting your knee like that, and then coming back on the second night of a back-to-back to take on OKC. And let's just remember, OKC, they were ahead of Golden State by double digits most of the night last night, until, of course, Steph Curry and company took over and ended up winning that game, which I think put them at 4-0, if I'm not mistaken. So the Golden State Warriors are looking really good. I'm sure Klay Thompson is licking his chops to get back. Let's just hope he can stay healthy, because I can see the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors having some great battles in the Western Conference Finals. And you know where you're going to find me, in the Golden State, baby, because and I ain't talking about Golden State Warriors, because Just in case anybody doesn't know, that's the nickname for California, the Golden State. So if you ever listened to Too Short Baby back in 1980, then you would know that. But at the end of the day, man, it's just been your boy B New. I just want to say right on to the real. Much love to the haters, man. Y'all stay tuned in. We're going to keep talking about the Lakers all season long. It's going to be plenty to talk about. Hopefully LeBron James can come out and play tonight if AD can't, and that way him and Westbrook can get some chemistry, because those are the main ones who really need to work on the chemistry. It's not really AD. And as far as Russ being Russ needs to just keep being Russ. He needs to keep being Russ. And I know they say we can't be Russ with LeBron. What AD mean by that is he needs to keep being aggressive. And as long as Russ keeps being aggressive, then the Lakers, you cannot drive, bro. You cannot drive. As long as the Lakers can keep being aggressive, then there won't be any issues. But like I was saying, this has been your boy B New, man. I'm just screaming right on to the real. And much love to these haters. I'm about.